Well, I had to do this at some point. I decided to wait a little bit, but two games in we have a bit of an idea. Although I did make my official predictions before the two games have been played, and my predictions haven't changed at all, but they might change over time. But this is the championship predictions, and well, it's going to be a bit of a tough league to predict this year, as it is every year, but even tougher than normal. So let's just stop rambling. Let's get straight into it. So 24th, probably the most popular pick here. It's Derby County. Um, they have a they have some decent players and quite a good academy, but obviously with the inability to sign players for actual money, having to go for free agents and their academy, it's not really going to be enough. All Derby County fans probably are expecting to go down and to finish bottom. And any Derby fan will take anything higher than 24th. That is for sure. You know, a lot of people could feel sorry for Rooney. He's in an impossible position, but as far as I know from what I've heard, he's very well up to the task and wants to do this. He is very passionate about being a manager, and you know what, if he does something this season, well, he may well end up proving himself. Well, 23rd, I have Huddersfield Town. Yeah, could maybe call this a bit of a crazy pick because they always seem to do enough, but I'm just not really convinced by them. They had one of the worst defensive records last season, and I'm not sure they're going to fix that. They can be good, but you know they are extremely inconsistent, and you know whether they stay up does really base on some of their better players like Josh Karoma, because if he ends up missing large portions of the season, they could be in a bit of trouble. But if he stays relatively injury free, they could be a bit better because they are a better side going forward with him in the team. Without him, they're absolutely toothless and useless. And really, their season rests on a player like him. He's not obviously the only good player that they have, but he's probably the most effective. 22nd is a potential crazy pick, really crazy, is Bristol City. I don't really have much of a reason for putting them here, other than they've been sort on a bit of a stalemate sort of trend that I feel like they'll end up losing it in the end. You know, they had a few good seasons and of just missing out and quite good ones. Last season was a bit of a serious stalemate. They ended the season terribly. You know, they're very known to have lots of really good runs and then straight away having a really bad run. And I feel like it's going to catch up to them this season and they'll end up getting relegated. 21st, I have Peterborough United. Yeah, not a lot of people predict them to stay up because, quite simply, they are not good at defending. They can't defend. They've already conceded 4 in 2 games. And, well, that could be a bit of a habit for them. However, they can score some goals, and I feel like that will be enough to keep them up. They have kept Johnson Clark-Harris as far as I know, although there is still time, so that could still change. It could even change in the next 10 minutes. but he will be important if he doesn't leave before the 31st, which I believe is when it ends. And a player like him will keep them up. 20th, and I feel like I should probably have them a bit higher, but again, this was before the first game of the season, and I've not bothered to change them because it is, again, only 2 games in, and it doesn't mean much at this stage. So 20th, I do have Hull. So again, quite a few people have said they would go straight down. I just don't think that. As I've said on obviously the vlog when I at the game at home against them, I said that they have good wingers. They also have George Honeyman too. Those 3 players are very key to their season. Keane Lewis Potter, very good player, even better than I thought. I thought he was very good anyway. I always knew he would have a decent season, and him, Malik Wilkes, and George Honeyman are really the ones that will keep them ticking. And whilst I've said for them to stay up, and all that, I'm very confident that they'll stay up. They could even do better than that. We don't exactly know just yet. But they do have some good attacking players, especially on the wingers. And I don't know, there are some. Nobody really knows what's going to happen with Hull this season. But next, in 19th, I have Blackburn Rovers. Obviously, the first 2 games they've gotten 4 points, but they've had starts like this before and then fell off a cliff. So this sort of thing does happen a lot. Obviously now Armstrong has left. They are looking to replace him. They're looking at Michael Obafemi. He's not proven, so I don't really think he will do the business. He's scored 5 career goals as far as I know in the league, I think. Well, someone can correct me. But however, there is one player that I think will have probably his best scoring season, and that's Ben Brereton. He's only ever had 7 goals as his best season. He will get double figures this season, especially that confidence after him getting called up for Chile. He's already got 2 in 2 in the league, and I do expect some more. He'll get double figures this season. That's absolutely, for me, a certainty, and he'll probably earn a move. 18th, I have Coventry. Similar season to last season, really. They're not really going to be any danger. I feel like that maybe they'll wrap up survival very early on and they might tail off a little bit, but it'll be quite comfortable for them. 17th, I have Blackpool. Yeah, as much as I hate them, I just can't. I just don't think they'll go down. Okay, they haven't started the best. They've got 1 point in 2. It's better than us, but whatever. I think they'll have enough to stay up. Quite simply, they can score goals. They can defend relatively well sometimes. But they've got the best defence out of the 3 teams that got promoted. And that's what I'm basing this off. 16th, I have Forest. It's a really tough one to predict. Just like my team, I'm not convinced of them going forward. They have a good team they have a few good players, but going forward, I'm not really convinced of them too much. But they could prove me wrong. I mean, Forest fans will be hoping they do, but they're in a bit of a nobody really expects much of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if Forest do make a promotion push. I'll just put it that way. 15th have Birmingham. They'll have a decent season, nothing to worry about. They'll never be in any danger, and they could maybe mount a bit of a push, but that'll have to wait and see. 14th, and well, I've put my team Preston. Although the first two games haven't gone too well, I still think this is probably... I mean, it's looking a bit optimistic now after these first two games, but I still think we'll get around that area. And I think it's probably about right. Most people put us in the 12th to 18th bracket at the start of the season, and to be honest, it seems about right to me. I don't really have much to say other than I'm concerned of us going forward and going back. You know, because 4 at the back we concede a lot, but 5 at the back we don't concede so much, but we fail to make a lot of chances. I don't really know what's going to go on with us this season, although there is other problems within the club. I won't get into them right now. You know, I'm sure on Saturday when I'm back in Deepdale, the problems will arise, and we'll definitely chant about it. Peter Ridsdale is the man that needs to go. That's all I'll say. 13th, I have Barnsley. Yes, it's a bit of a drop-off for them. They've lost their best player. But, well, I think Mowat was their best player, and they've lost an excellent manager. But they have another potential good manager. Nobody really knows how they're going to do. They're a bit of a wild card this season. Some people have predicted them to go down. Some people have predicted them to go up. And a lot of people have predicted them about mid-table. They won't have anything to worry about, I can tell you that for sure. It wouldn't surprise me if they do go for really get a push going. They've got a young, hungry squad. Even without Alex Mowat, I still think they've got a good squad. They'll probably beat us both times this season. And they are good. So, there's that. 12th, I have Reading. I do expect a bit of a fall off for them, but it won't be too dramatic. It'll be a bit of an average season, but I don't think they'll have anything to worry about. You know, John Swift, who obviously always has a game against us, I think he'll be very key to their season. He always is. Every season he's very key to Reading all the time. He's probably their best player. Even though they've lost a couple of very good players, I still expect them to have an alright season. 12th, I think Reading fans would be fairly satisfied with. 11th, I have Luton. Okay, progressive by 1 position. I wouldn't be surprised to see them higher. I've even seen a couple of people predict them to go up, which I think that's a bit far, but it wouldn't surprise me. They do have a good team. And under Nathan Jones, they seem to be very progressive. So they'll go up another 1, 2, 3 positions this season. They could make the playoffs, but I don't see it. 10th, I have Swansea. Now, they don't look it. They don't look like they're going to get this high this early on, but again, it is only 2 games in. They will turn that around. You know, they could maybe make the playoffs if they manage to make any additions within the next 2 weeks, but I don't think so. Everyone expects a drop off from them, but I think they'll do alright. They won't have much to worry about. They expect they won't be making any kind of push, and that's just where I think they'll be. Right, 9th, I have Stoke. I think that they're a very solid side, and I think it'll remain that way. They've replaced the outgoings well, and they could have a chance. 8th I have Millwall. Yep, similar season to their last two. Very solid. Making a bit of a push, but just missing out. Gary Rowett, very hard to beat. There's not much more you can say about that. 7th I have, just missing out, I have Cardiff City. They're always a good side in the Championship. I do expect them to make a push this season. They'll want it. And they have challenged every single season. They have a good enough squad. And that much is to be said. But will they do it? We don't know. But we can always see. So 6th, I have Borough. And I have actually predicted them to win the playoff final. Yeah, crazy pick. I know. Some people, I don't know how many people would have predicted them to do this, but I just have a feeling that the Riverside will be a bit of a fortress this coming season. You know, they'll win the majority of their games. They'll be hard to beat at home, and they'll get some good away results. They might have a bad run here and there, but they'll have enough to get into the top 6. And I feel like they'll be hungry enough to win the playoffs. Because they've been out of the Premier League for a few years now, and they'll want to get back there and possibly remain. This is Neil Warnock. He loves a good promotion. 5th, I have Sheffield United. Bit shocking that I have them a bit low, but I've seen a lot of people put them even lower to miss out on the playoffs, which even to me that's surprising. Obviously they have a good side, but I don't think they have quite as much as some people might think. I think they'll have a bit of a tough start to the season. I mean, they already have. You know, obviously losing to Birmingham. And I believe they just drew 0-0. It'll be difficult for them to start off. And they'll recover it, but they'll essentially lose in this playoff semi-final. It won't be a season to forget, but not exactly to remember either. So 5th place for Sheffield United. 4th place, I have Bournemouth. It's a fairly tidy looking squad, and obviously they have, in my opinion, the best defensive midfielder in the league in Ben Pearson. And I think Bournemouth fans definitely see why Preston fans have been raving about him for so goddamn long. He just makes the team tick, and we felt a bit of how we felt the effects of losing him. Possibly, you could say that. Although I feel like Ryan Ledson's stepping up to the plate a bit. But anyway, I do have them losing in the playoff final, but I think it'll be a good season for them. Again, they have a chance to maybe get the top 2, which obviously that is probably the aim for them. They do have a chance of it. 3rd, I have West Bromwich Albion. Many will predict that they get top 2. I just don't see it. Obviously, Pereira has left. It won't really affect them too much because they do have good players going forward. They have Callum Robinson, who at this level is very good. And obviously, in his final season at Preston, he proved that he was very clinical. Well, that he can be. And honestly, had he not got that very bad injury, I honestly believe he would have gotten at least 20 goals and pushed us into the playoffs that season. So it really shows that he is really good. And there's obviously a reason Sheffield United and then subsequently West Brom bought him. But I don't think they'll go straight back up. Obviously they'll get in the playoffs like they did last time they came down, they'll get in the playoffs, but I ultimately believe they will lose in the semi-final, just like they did last time. And into my top 2, you'll know one crazy pick that I haven't told you yet, and that is because I think QPR are going to finish second in the league. I think QPR will go up this season. It is a crazy pick, but to me they are looking very good. You know, unlike previous seasons, their defence is looking better than their previous seasons anyway. And no matter how they started, okay, I thought they would win both their first 2 games, but that obviously hasn't happened. Nobody's won their first 2 games though, so it's not something to look into. QPR are going to have a good season, especially when they really hit the ground running. When they get going, they will really get going and score a lot of goals. They will concede very few, and they will be one of the best teams in the league. It's just, they have this feel-good factor that I think that will really help them. They're going up. QPR are Premier League bound. And first, obviously, I have Fulham. It's probably the easiest pick for me. Obviously, they're not going to run away with it, but I fully expect them to win it. They did just win 5-1 at Huddersfield, which I actually predicted correctly, which is pretty good going for me. But I think a lot of people saw them beating Huddersfield very heavily. They are very good going forward, and I think they have now actually improved their defence since they were last down in this league. So they are better at the back, which is very important. So since they are better at the back, that will give them more of a chance to win the league. And obviously they have that attacking prowess, and yeah, I think they'll just be far too strong. They won't run away with it. They'll get pushed, but they'll win it. They'll come on top, and they'll have nothing to worry about. Be all parties and balloons for them. And well, that's my championship predictions. It's probably absolutely terrible, and I'll look in about 9 months' time thinking, oh God, how did I get it so wrong? But that's just the beauty of this league. And God, this is already my longest video I've ever done. And well, let's just get off this now, and let's just hope I get some right. And I'll see you probably on Tuesday, because there is a Cone game that I'm going to. Obviously, we're away to Huddersfield. Preston are away to Huddersfield on Tuesday, but I can't get there due to work. But I'm going to Cone instead, since I live in Cone and I can get there. So yeah, that's where I'll be on Tuesday, and then on Saturday, obviously, I'll be at Deepdale at the Peterborough home game, and all that stuff. But anyway, I don't need to get into all that too much. I hope maybe you enjoyed these predictions. I don't know. Do you agree? Do you not agree? Do you agree with some of the crazy picks? What are your crazy picks? What is your craziest pick? Let me know the craziest pick. Do you have a crazy pick of maybe Hull to get promoted? I know someone has said Hull to get promoted. Would be interesting. Southampton, Norwich kind of story from all those years ago. Just let me know. What is your craziest pick? That is what I really want to know. So, let me just end this here, and goodbye.